Welcome back to the Paladins Minor League. I'm Fawn, your host, joined here by Nick.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the rest of these matches coming out from the PML. It's going to be a really, really great day just overall in general. I believe it's All Business is playing right now with versus
One Trick Pony.
One Trick Pony, yeah. It's a unicorn on the icon.
A great logo for sure. The biggest, conversation swirling around is, so much action happening in the minor league. So many players getting called up, kind of like fulfilling their destiny as minor league players. It's really kind of the dream. You get called up to the big leagues, but it means a lot of backfilling has to happen. A lot of new teams, a lot of new faces, some that you've kind of never seen before, but some, frankly, that, have some land experience, especially when you look at, some of the guys from the previous set on Sour Team and Penta. A lot of substitute players in that first matchup as, for instance, Ninu, substitute player, still in the minor league, but already substituting, getting called up to the Premier League and kind of filling that job.
Right, yeah. And I mean, such a dominating lead, like in the beginning from Sour Team, just having a 3-0 situation. Like Penta did have
a lot of triple tank
subs
these days,
right,
man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Something's happening there.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly it is that's going on, like, at all. Like, triple tank is... Like,
it's cool that it's like a niche strategy.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is, yeah. It's really, really awesome that we're starting to see that just more of any... like. Just more than ever, like especially after yesterday.
Right.
We're gonna take a look at believe what the first map is for the the map bans, yeah. And then that would be Frog Isle and Waters Gate, the first two bans we see. Followed by Fish Market and Timber Mill.
Fish Market, Timber Mill. We're seeing, kind of those closer knit bands. Goremizer was basically the prophet calling out the first couple. Yeah. We had the Bright Marsh, we had the Jaguar Falls, where that triple tank is going to be, and that's why we might be getting a little bit skewed as far as how much we are truly going to see that niche strategy come out. It's those maps pretty much.
Yeah.
It's Jaguar Falls, it's Bright Marsh. Those are the maps that it's going to work on if you even want to run it at all. And we've just kind of, had a bit of a skewed distribution in terms of seeing those maps a little bit more often in these best of fives as well. If those are more popular maps, those are going to be two of the potentially only three maps that we see. It's going to feel like we're seeing it a lot more than we may actually being so. Awesome. I'm curious to get into this set and kind of see what these guys end up picking.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested to see what it is that these teams have in store for us. But I feel like we're going to go straight to the first map, see what it is they have picked, and that will be Stone Keep is the first map it is. They'll be playing on One Trick Pony versus All Business.
Yep, so Stone Keep not going to lend itself to too many niche strategies. If anything, you want to talk about like this map having some pretty significant high ground as well as just a very, very large skybox. So Drogos is something you want to look at. Willow is something you want to potentially look at. We've seen both Willow and Tyra bans. But again, that was a little bit more to counter out that niche triple tank strategy on one of those smaller maps.
Yeah, we see that they start off immediately with the Torvald Makoa ban. It's pretty much what you'd expect to see. The Khan, want to have that access to that on Stone Keep as well, followed by the Atlas. These are all pretty much bands that you'd expect to see more than anything. Nothing really too out of the ordinary.
The tanky boys, yeah.
You always want to try to eliminate them. They're normally the go-tos for most people.
Yeah, especially in the Premier League, and for the most part, you will expect to see mostly a mirroring of what you see in the Premier League. These players, kind of aspire, and frankly, some of them are of Premier League skill, just maybe haven't gotten that shot yet. Need to get a little bit more experience, but in terms of performing at a mechanical level, a lot of them can, execute that draft that they saw, Na'Vi or the Renegades do last week, right? They can make sure that, they draft that sort of style. They know what they're doing on a basic level. It may not be as tightened and as tuned up as a Premier League team doing it, but they're going to get the gist of it, and they're going to be able to execute roughly in the ballpark of what you would expect.
Right, exactly. You see that Barrick and Anara are the first two that are locked on All Business side. OTP, One Trick Pony opting for the Ash, the Grover, the Leon. Could that potentially mean that with the Grover, along with his natural AoE healing and healing as around him, he also heals up, like vertically?
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like a sphere around him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So you will be able to heal through walls, people below you, people above you, as long as they're kind of like within your sphere of influence. They will get that healing. It doesn't matter if they're obstructed by the map terrain.
And I feel like that might be cause for potentially a Drogos pick, maybe. I'm not quite sure. They do have the Leon to potentially deal with the Eevee. That auto aim is really, really important for her, I know, especially on Leon. She has 2 abilities that does pretty much do that. They actually are going for the Fernando and the BK, the Bomb King. Now, could you tell me a little bit why it would be this?
Well, Fernando is one of the more bottom of the barrel frontliners at the moment. Not terrible, viable, but just bottom of the barrel, right? He's just not that high on the pecking order. So many frontline bans as well. That's when you kind of see the Fernandos come out, when there's just nothing else left to pick. What he brings, pretty decent sustain, pretty decent mobility, good ultimate as well. I think Immortal is still, one of the top ultimates in the game. It just doesn't get to see quite as much play. I think All Business kind of got the better end of the draft here, to be completely honest with you. These are pretty good picks, but I don't think they necessarily go super well together for One Trick Pony.
Yeah, I'm a little bit leaning towards All Business's side. They have a lot of staying power. They have a lot of control over their flanks. Just the Eevee Cassie, man, like, it's so hard to deal with them. The Fernando and Ash Shields are definitely going to be struggling. And we're going to throw it right down to the casters, I believe, for Game 1. We're going to see what they have in store for us.
Thank you, fellas. One Trick Pony versus All Business, game number 1. Gormizer, I'll give you the floor because I remember coming into today, you had a bit of a gripe, the One Trick Pony logo they have there.
That's not a pony, Dave, as it turns out.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Can ponies be unicorns?
Well,
Like, is there a
that's the question.
subclass of
It's like
unicorn that is pony?
all ponies are not unicorns, but are all unicorns ponies?
This is a question for Google.
It's a Venn diagram question.
A Venn diagram
That's
question.
the one.
Yeah, well, because, in my mind, you have, I guess, smaller horses, which are ponies, right? Are they baby horses? I don't even know where the classification of pony is. You know what? Anyway, hey, how about this game? Some missed shots there from Nixus. Let's get on topic. That was a very me start to the cast we just had.
I was going to say, you thought you'd be able to stay on topic with me around, but that's not. I set you up for failure there in that case. Slapidopoulos, notably, coming over from the Paladins console league, finding the first blood in this game. But Doodle and Nixus, they find kills 1 and 2 for One Trick Pony to answer back. All Business doing a good job of holding up this high right-hand side here as the shield rolls on through. Bit of a shield duel there with both Ash and Barrick. And I'm backing way up if I'm All Business right now. I see One Trick Pony rolling through. Stack of 5 with the Grover. A couple bomb sticks, and Slapidopoulos is out. He's able to get himself a nice bowling ball shield and get out of that high ground. Not before Doodle, though. Notably playing the Fernando this time around. Finds a kill onto Madara.
Dave, I'm going to be 100%. If I had to guess anyone on that team that Slapidopoulos was going to be playing, Barrick would not have been my #1 list for him. And I think we're starting to maybe see a little bit of why. It's just not the role that he's been playing for a long time.
True.
I mean, he's been a DPS, been a very notable Kinessa in the console scene, not necessarily known for his Barrick. But I am excited to see something on that side that is Madara, once again. I'd mentioned him during the last set. So we had a couple of people of the very old B5 roster that was from the CIS, BGS, and Madara is one of those players that when it came down to it, things didn't work out. He kind of disappeared from the scene for a little bit, and now that he's back, it's just nice to see him playing again.
He started off this game pretty well for All Business right now. I mean, a couple deaths on their side. Unfortunately, One Trick Pony, they're going to be the team to grab point #1 here. He's able to bowling ball his way out. Slapidopoulos caught up here in this high ground, though. Shields, health bars melting for All Business. They have to back off here, look for a little bit of healing from the Moldamba in this case. Madara down on the low ground now. Just getting himself out of danger as Slapidopoulos tries to hold down this left flank. We haven't seen too much Bomb King, though, recently, Gore. Why do we see it maybe a little bit here?
Honestly, I think it's just when it comes down to it, there are a couple of maps he does really well, and you're looking at players that I would argue have been around long enough that, Drogoz can work on this map, but he's not someone you're going to go instinctively. Actually, I think in this matchup, he would have been really, really solid. But some people just like their Bomb King. And I think, honestly, that's what it is for Defit. He's in a perfect zone for this right now. Because we even saw, Andrew Doodle, one of the most notable Bomb Kings I think I've ever seen in Paladins.
True. He's playing the Fernando.
Was kind of struggling with it last game.
He's playing the Fernando this time around. He has the Immortal. They're not going to need it. That was about as smooth a push as you hope for on the offensive end. Just a couple of kills, goes right on through.
Only having 1 death that entire time. It is onto the Bomb King, so I guess you can kind of keep that in mind. But honestly, it is exactly what you need. And Defit, that's, 3-1 and 3. It's not a stellar round, right, when it comes down to your KDA. But compared to what I've seen out of him in the past, when like he subbed in, I believe, for Blazing Asars, that's phenomenal. Like, I mean, this is
harsh.
a very
3-1 and 3 is okay.
Well, because before
I
where
never want to
Blazing
be on your team. I'm going to be 10-0, and you're going to be flaming me.
Blazing Asars, just they didn't hit all the check marks they needed to, right?
Right.
This time around, Andrew Doodle, Defit, you can see Surretts, I think, all kind of coming together and linking in a way that I haven't really seen them link in the past.
Sure.
And it's feeling a lot fresher, this split.
It's looking a lot fresher as well. They're off to a 2-0 start. Ice Storm answered back, though, by the Whirlwind's going to keep One Trick Pony nice and healthy as Madara tries to find something for himself here in this fight. So low as King Bomb starts to roll through. Immortal as well, maybe even sets that up, gets a double stun, a double kill, maybe 3. Make it 3. Slappadopoulos, the last to fall as Closar pulls one back. He's only Closar to the base as he ends up finding death in that engagement. It looks like One Trick Pony are well on their way to point number 3.
And I mean, that's like, Defit comes out of that and he's like, you know what? That's worth. Like, you use the Immortal, you use the King Bomb, and both of those in tandem means you can't kill that Death Ball that is rolling straight at you. That's the best part about it, is you're clean slate, handed at least a stun. Gets the triple kill? Yeah, of course he dies for it, but he doesn't care. Closar can hit that last shot all day.
Sure.
It's a 3-for-1 at the end of it, and that's 87% on the point without comeback mechanic there for One Trick Pony, whereas All Business are going to be the ones kind of controlling it right now. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Former point tank for Na'Vi, if you go back a little over a year now. He knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. He's doing his job just as well as he can here. Defit, though, finds another first blood in this engagement. A triple kill in the last one. Closar is no more. The next one to win this fight is likely going to get this point. Enlightenment rips through, no kill, but some damage onto Unbelievable, and Defit is just teeing off from this high ground here. Slappadopoulos only finds death on the point this time around. That's actually a very good Ice Storm from Madara. Closar is able to capitalize, find himself a kill. In for the touch, but he's sort of off on an island on his own, and One Trick Pony yet again find themselves winning the mid-fight.
You know, Dave, I feel like I didn't answer your earlier question well enough as to like why Bomb King,
Sure.
why we've seen him essentially twice today versus almost no time at all.
You can amend your answer as new information comes
I'm
available.
going to amend it as I have no idea. If he can do this, why people are not picking him. Like, granted, I do understand right now where the meta is at. He maybe doesn't quite fit into the formula.
Doesn't fit in?
But sometimes
yeah, baby.
he doesn't have to fit in if you can just, again, this is like, you've got a square, you're trying to make it fit in the circle, but they also came with a giant mallet to make sure that square is going through. They made the hole a square for this Bomb King, and Defit is making it work in a stellar manner.
Absolutely. Another kill onto Madara. Excited to see what his slash line looks like towards the end of this game. Somehow the only one on One Trick Pony that is not on a killing spree right now. Double digits for everybody. 19 notably for the Grover Whirlwind. They want to end this game right now, and with 2 kills on the board, they might just do it. Madara into the ice block trying to stay alive, but he only finds death as Stop Me cleans that one up. Down goes the Damba right into the King Bomb, though. Xenos, maybe the last to fall in this game, is Unbelievable. Throws one last-ditch effort out to it. Dome Shield, though, maybe pulls things back a little bit, but the Immortal cancels that one right on out. And there's so much grouped-up damage here towards the bottom. They're throwing everything they possibly can at the wall here. Not going to matter as One Trick Pony finds the win.
I mean, if you're going to be a one-trick pony and, like, if you
Just
can
bet.
only play those 5 champions, that's honestly all you need, because most of them weren't even, like, crazy high priority. Like, I mean,
Right.
you get the Ashe maybe, but, like, Fernando, hardly ever picked. Like, he's kind of the scraps of the front line. Bomb King is one of the scraps of the Blasters, and they played them at that level that it is going to
True.
not only win one game, but, like, it will continue to knock down those dominoes and give them the full stack.
Unfortunately, you don't have 5 bans, because if you're playing against One Trick Pony,
Yeah, then
this
that's
is
the
the
stack.
lineup you have to ban out every single time. But what a game, and we noted, of course, the Bomb King, huge plays from Defit that time around. But but again, that only tells, I think, like half the story. We'll see in the post-game stats, because everyone towards the end of that game was streaked out. Surretts, 24 streak, up in the 20s for the healer on One Trick Pony, 18 for Stop Me. And Defit, again, somehow the lowest streak in the game, 65k damage, and as fast a game as it is, that's very impressive.
I mean, the thing that made his Bomb King work, the reason that 13, 3, and 10 was as impressive, was because he was just all-out aggression the entire time. Having 2 undying members on your team, of course, is also going to help. Your 2 front lines never going down means he had a lot of room to work with. But there were so many times where it's this, like, I mean, he's in their face. He does not care. He's not trying to hit any long-range stickies. He's not trying to do anything fancy. He's just, I'm going to stand 5 to 10 feet away from you. I'm going to hit you with 1 to 2 bombs, and you are going to die. This is the contract. Like, you signed it. I'm sorry, that's just how it's going to work.
That was actually a funny interaction. The King Bomb exploded. Madara was behind him, and I think just a bit of collateral damage ended up setting up the triple kill. But you have to give props to Doodle. We pointed out that, you know, normally if you see him on a team and a Bomb King and a Blaster, whether it's a Drogos or any of that category of champion, you expect him to be playing it.
Yeah. But
he flexes onto the Fernando this time around, makes it look very good, goes undying. Both of the frontliners for One Trick Pony, 0 deaths in that game. Hard to win a game when you can't kill the frontline.
And it's one of those things, like, when you go back, you look at Blazing Asars, you look at some of the things that weren't working. I like seeing Andrew Doodle try a different rollout. I feel like this is a really good movement for them, just to be able to see, like, cool, if we can make this work, maybe flex around everybody on the team, you have something most teams don't.
They don't, but what they do have is a 1 in the win column in the form of a 4-0 on Stone Keep. More of set 2 right after this.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Minor League.
Welcome back. It is I, Small Brain Fawn, joined here by Big Brain Nick.
Come on, man. Give yourself some credit. Give that brain some time to grow, all right?
Okay.
believe in the brain.
I will. I will try my best to believe in the brain. Such a good set last time to go. Very, very convincing, actually. 4-0.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised, if I'm being completely honest with you. You know, there's a couple comments I made about, you know, I don't really see necessarily how this goes together. All business, they pick like a very definitive double point front line. They get the Inara, they get the Barrack. And what you have to do in that situation is abuse the fact that, yes, they're going to stand out in the open better than you will, but they're not going to kind of rampage through the map and take what they want better than you do. So they use this Ashe, they use this Fernando, that great Fernando out that we talked about to set up that awesome King Bomb play. There was a lot of replays from that Bomb King because, frankly, sometimes it's just as simple as no paper matchups, no math, no this, no that. No, he's just hitting his shots better than you are. He's staying in his range, which for the Bomb King is just about just cresting into that mid range before your bomb starts to drop, and you don't really have to do anything fancy with your crosshair. You just put it on the guy, you stick it, you blow your stuff up. He did a very good job making sure there was always an Ashe in front of him or Fernando was in front of him. Bomb King might be one of the best characters to play around an aggro front line like that. Very kind of surprising. I think One Trick Pony, you know, they caught me off guard a little bit with that Bomb King performance, for sure.
I think really it's just like you brought up a good point about the positioning just from deficit in general. When we do see that the map is here, Serpent Beach, second pick for them. I believe this is since All Business lost. The Stone Keep was their pick, right?
I'm not sure who picked what, but each team is guaranteed at least one map pick through the first two.
Okay, then I'm going to assume that this is their pick since they're the ones that
I would
lost.
hope so.
I would hope.
Okay, that was One Trick Pony's pick on Stone Keep. This is All Business's selection. So hopefully, you know, usually in a set that is going to be competitive, each team will take, doesn't have to be a 4-0, but
Right,
each
right.
team should be taking, in my opinion, their map pick.
Right.
That's their best foot forward. They should be getting that if this is going to be a competitive set.
Right, yeah. There's the reason why I asked, because it was like there were times yesterday where we saw in the PCO where people would pick a map, but it would be their map pick, and then they would lose like 4-0
Yeah.
or like
That's trouble.
4-1 or something like that, which is why I had to make sure that that was their map pick. However, right here to the bans is Serpent Beach. They do get rid of the Knessa, they get rid of the Atlas, the Ashe, the Torval. Now, we don't normally see the Knessa
No.
quite often on Serpent Beach, but she is still a threat on Serpent Beach. Can you explain a little bit why that is?
It is a specifically a player. I think it's going to be Bugsy playing this. I've seen him, do it time and time again. This is something that All Business has run in the past, has had banned against them in the past. It's specific a little bit to Serpent Beach. People will take sometimes reposition. We'll see if that's still the case. Reposition just basically makes your transport instantaneous. It allows you to quickly get on your opponent's side of the map. Everybody groups behind that waterfall, right? This Knessa would have been likely to just blast past the sundial, up onto the enemy high ground, and have an angle onto the opponent team as they're grouped up behind the waterfall, like kind of like doing that little dance around the pillar. She's just got a clear line of sight, so there is a viability to it. It's pretty niche, right? It's like it's rock solid on the start, almost like Frog Eye. It's rock solid on the start, and then it's rock solid at the end home stretch again when you have a line of sight to work with.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And Leon, Genos being locked on OTP on their side. I already like OTP's comp just a little bit more than AB's. They do manage to, they're going to try and lock the Inara. Don't really want to leave her open, even though OTP has already picked their dual front line. There's Inara's open. Why would you not pick her, like along with Mako or with anybody else? So I mean, like that makes a lot of sense. And they're trying to try to go for the Eevee as well. Yeah.
Still need something to contest that Barrack on the objective. I think a lot of weight of execution is going to be placed on this Grover. He has to position properly to be able to heal this Tyra, to be able to float to Makoa, be near Inara. It's very doable. You just definitely have to keep kind of your head on a swivel. Eevee's going to be a little bit on her own, but that's okay. That's kind of like one of that champion's strengths, is that she can kind of operate relatively on her own.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. The Jorgos is locked in. We do see that this is the comps that they have for both All Business and for One Trick Pony. I'm gonna toss it right down to the casters and see what it is that they have to say about these comps.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Nick. And thank you, Game 2, for being held on Serpent Beach. One Trick Pony up 1-0 in this set. A lot of convincing games today, Gore. I would not have expected set 1 to be 4-0, 4-1, 4-0. I mean, it was, especially between Penta and Sour. This region, a lot more interesting now with some of the roster swaps that have been happening. One Trick Pony looking very strong out of the gate here. Get themselves nice Luminary Drogos, Luminary Leon. Maybe do more of the same.
I mean, they came in, they cracked their knuckles, they've been doing their warm-ups, making the rounds in any community tournament you can kind of grab onto. Because once it's game day, it's game day. You got to show up to play, and it seems like One Trick Pony have done their homework. I actually really like their draft for this. But going back and kind of hinting at what Nick said, first off, again, I love Madara. I love him on Eevee, at least from what I remember of this. It's a question of whether he can perform at that same standard that he had for himself, about a year and a half ago.
Sure.
Or if it's going to be a little different, as well as looking more into if they can juggle this Grover properly. That's probably going to be the hardest thing, but you can see most of them grouping up on the right-hand side. So he's still getting a majority of them healed. I mean, even right now, Madara's in range.
It's a bigger circle than I think a lot of people would immediately.
Huge.
I mean, it's already up on the opposite side there. I'm moving right on past that one. It's Defit. Big game, last game on the Bomb King. Looks to do more of the same, but All Business already 99%. Unbelievable. It's just set up a tent on the point right now. Garnered almost 100%. First blood as well over to Closar. They might just be able to capitalize on that 4 advantage and get themselves point number 1 here. The Khan has to dash in there. Doodle, though, finds nothing but death. Xenost as well getting in there on the board. Stop Me, 0 deaths last game. It's going to have 1 to start off this one, and All Business. First point of Serpent Beach, first point of the set.
I'm going to be honest, it doesn't surprise me to see All Business control. Like, it's almost surprising to see them not control the points as well as they did last game than it does to see them control the point as well as they did this game. Because Unbelievable, again, used to play for Na'Vi. He comes from literally the best school of thought when it comes to fighting from the point in Paladins. And so, and he was a huge priority when they started doing that, while they were doing that. The first time they won a world championship, I guess the only time they won a world championship, was with him on their roster doing that. So he knows how to play from that objective. Anything that goes wrong, I would honestly, on a point fight, most of the time it's not going to be him, and he played that one appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely did. Shout out to Madara there, getting the shot onto the Drogo's mid Dragon Punch, forcing him back. Not able to connect on that one. Ice Storm gets a kill onto Surette, so no more healing, just for 5 more seconds for One Trick Pony. They end up losing their Eevee, though. That's big. The hooks have been pretty good from Slopodopoulos as well in these last few moments. Just a few shots missing there onto the Barrack towards the back end of it. Going to get into a Shell Shield. This payload's getting ever so close. That's the Dome Shield that drops, as well as the Seismic Crash. I'm going to yoink you right on out of that one as the Whirlwind comes out for All Business as well. No kills, very tense moments here as Madara's the first to drop for All Business. That might be a sign for the need to back off and regroup.
I mean, trying to do anything and everything he can. Going back to what you had mentioned earlier, DeFit had a stellar game last game and a very quiet game so far here on the Drogos.
Yes.
He's been kind of sneaking through, good damage, but nothing out of the ordinary, nothing crazy, nothing, I guess, stellar when it comes down to it. He's only 1-0, so he hasn't really been able to do too much in terms of that, but you need him to go a little bit bigger on the point fights. I want to see him hold on to this Dragon Punch, just get rid of Unbelievable almost immediately, or maybe the Makoa at the beginning of the next point fight. And right now, just keep doing that. Just 3-man combustible shots as best you can, or 3-man Dragon Spit shots. Just spread the damage out, spread the love, and make sure that there's no one on All Business that feels comfortable around that payload.
This Hunting Party Tyra is going to be a lot to break through as well. Nixus throws out the Enlightenment, doesn't find a kill, only finds death, but DeFit, you called out his name, he's up in the air now, doing a little bit of damage onto Unbelievable. Now it's only a Makoa. I say only a Makoa, as if that's a bad thing to have, but the Crossfire, so much value, a double kill now for Closar. Payload rolls in, and All Business on the board, up to a tune of 2-0.
Kosar had a very phenomenal end to the round right there. I mean, 4-0-2, and I'm pretty sure he just got 3 of those right there at the end. And it's that moment. He is the most dangerous hunter of Drogos in this match right now. And around the point, it's enough to make DeFit fall back, maybe not enough to find pressure and get the kill. But right there, where there's almost nowhere else to go, DeFit has to face him, has to deal with him. And so you have to play in a completely different manner if you're DeFit. And it messes with your game. It messes with the vibe. It messes with the flow. Everything you want in Drogos kind of gets tripped up by that Tyra, and the closer in proximity you two get.
He's hanging in there at 2-1, but like you said, not quite the same as what we saw in the last game. 87k healing from Xenost over on the All Business side. They have some good ultimates to work with as well. Ancient Rage, Seismic Crash could start them off well. That's going to be the opening one, as a matter of fact. All Business finds some stuns, and there's the Ancient Rage. All Business wanting to control this one right off the bat. The Dragon Punch flies in, does not find a kill. He has to circle back, but he does on the second chance. Closar finds a death in the form of a Dragon Punch to the face. Madara into the ice block, gets some good healing. DeFit now trying to make his presence felt in some of these earlier round fights. A little bit earlier on here, 48% is where All Business get to this time around, as One Trick Pony have found themselves a little bit of space on the point.
An unfortunate reload timing right there. Might have been able to get the last couple of hits they needed onto Unbelievable. He's going to be alive. A nice hook gets that con into danger, but it ends up hurting them maybe a little bit more. They trade out Slopodopoulos for Stop Me, and, well, Stop Me gets stopped, but it might not be enough. Again, now Unbelievable's kind of left out to dry.
I'll take it for getting rid of a Makoa, because that leaves Nixus, like you said, free and clear to fire down onto Unbelievable. Nice shots there for a triple kill on the Leon. 1, 2, 3, they go down on All Business. It looks like One Trick Pony are well on their way to their first point. Slopodopoulos, bit of a saving grace effort. Not going to matter. It's 1 for One Trick Pony.
I mean, should be, taken through, control, corralling, dismounting, locking them up on the high ground. There's only one downside I have truly with One Trick Pony, and that is, while you're aggressing, the only person who consistently is going to be up on that high ground is this Drogos, and I'm just not sure if he's going to be enough. With the way he's been playing, it can fall back and forth between the two of them. He has the Dragon Punch. Last time wasn't able to get the Makoa. Did get rid of the Tyra, which I think is what opened the skies for him a little more. But this is a very, this situation where it's like you can get as much poke as you want, but there's only so much you can do.
That'll be a little annoying. I mean, he's hitting lots of shots. The salvos were good, a few good fire spits as well, but then immediately gets healed right back up. Dragon Punch, if nothing else, buys him actually an interesting angle on Madara there. Gets the opening kill of this push Onto the EV, Closar's able to answer back as well. With only 158 health left to his name. Seismic Crash again. Doesn't look like it found any stuns down there for Unbelievable. He's getting very low, not much healing left. They could try to capitalize on that. Crossfire maybe with the hunting party would melt through. Stop me right now. They're not going to need that. He has to back off. Madara back from the respawn as well. Kill onto Doodle. It looks like One Trick Pony are forced back for the moment.
And that's just another good example of what it can be like. And actually the best example of Tyra up close versus Tyra far away.
Yeah.
Like, up close, this dragon's health bar drops 3/4 of the way. The further he gets, the less you see it disappearing. And that's why it's so dangerous. Like, essentially around anything other than the main objective in a mid-fight.
Sure.
It's just so difficult, I think, for Defit to feel the same way he did on the Bomb King last game. It's just been very much more slow-paced game.
Nice
really,
prediction.
really good long-range shots. And that's kind of the matchup that I've been most impressed with. He's been dealing more damage to this EV than I think you typically expect to see out of a Drogos.
Well, that's true. I mean, in picks and bans, you say, all right, who's going to deal with this EV? Who's going to deal with the Drogos? And you would say it's the Leon. And on the opposite side, you would say it's the Tyra. But Defit has done a good job on his own of dealing some good damage to the EV. In goes the hook. Slopodopoulos gets a kill, but he has no health left to stay alive in that one. Madara back with only 300 health as well. 15 seconds remaining. One Trick Pony with an immediate 4v3 advantage in this one. Defit, though, he stayed alive so long towards the end of this fight. 8 streak for him, 7 streak for the Genos as well. Dragon Punch could start things off. Another Seismic Crash. I feel like Unbelievable's done such a good job of keeping that one up off a cooldown. The hook actually pulls Danger closer to Slop than I think he was predicting there. Madara, only 1 kill, only 1 return kill here for all business. And it's Surret's and Madara up here trying to just stay out of sight. He has to go into the ice block just to contest as overtime starts. That's not going to help out very much. Unbelievable's now back in this fight, trying to keep the payload at bay.
Just stalls long enough to let those tanks get there, but they're taking a lot of damage. And this entire time, yes, overtime's going, but you see Defit getting closer. That's where my eyes are going to be. This Dragon, who has been impactful against these front lines, is going to be back in the fight relatively soon, and that damage makes a big difference around this point.
Crossfire didn't find a lot of value in that one. Ice Storm maybe just to try to pull something back, but all you got are damage dealers. None of them are going to stay alive very long, and One Trick Pony brute forced their way through that one. It's a good dome shield, honestly, from the Barrack on the side of One Trick Pony. Dropped it down. The Crossfire, a bit of unfortunate timing from Closar, only melts the Barrack shield. And Nixus with a good rotation of shots here finds a triple kill to seal up their first point fight.
And I think that is a testament to why Dragon Punch should be used on Makoa about as soon as possible. Like, ideally, you make Slopodopoulos pop the Ancient Rage, then you pop him off of the map with that ult, just because it's going to burn through all 10,000 health, eats his ult, and sets up Nixus specifically to go on and continue being aggressive. Granted, if you had to choose, I would say the other targets, Unbelievable, potentially Closar, just as good for Defit to be able to find. Closar is really only going to help him for the most part, but you get rid of Slop, you get rid of Unbe, and you're set up to control this point.
For a quick thought, I saw 6, I believe, rejuves in the item slots here. We don't normally see too many of the green items, especially with how much value Cauterize finds. Why are we maybe seeing some rejuves?
You need a little bit more for One Trick Pony to keep up with the healing that's going to be coming out of the Grover, which is going to be able to set everyone up. So now not only are you getting the same amount of healing, but you're getting the Luminary boost.
Sure.
On the other side, you're doing it because Cauterize hurts Grover so much, you just need that reprieve.
Just something a little bit extra. Give the Grover a little bit more space. All business yet again find themselves on the point. Nixus playing with fire, 67 health. Gets the kill, but Defit on the Dragon. He says, I can do it on Bomb King. I can do it on Drogos. A triple kill this time for Defit. And One Trick Pony stalls out right at the right time. 93% for all business without a moment to spare.
You know, there are moments where that could go drastically wrong, but I love the fact that Nixus plays that in A. I might die here, but that's not going to stop me. I'm not going to back off and give them any amount of room to play with just because I'm under 100 health, like literally one tap. I'm just going to move forward.
Get a little extra damage.
If I die,
out.
I die. Like, and he sets up Defit, right? It's the perfect amount of back and forth because you have to remember this is something we started talking about like a year ago, essentially. It's not just you on the team. Like, if you die and you're one of the damage dealers, you've got a buddy. He's here to help you.
True. All business. I mean, they started off hot with a 2-0 start, have since lost 3 straight points to One Trick Pony, who are now starting to find their footing yet again. A 20 streak burning away for the Genos on OTP. that through time and space we're ready as well. Just playing those corners so well as Defit may end up dropping to Slapidopoulos here, but he's actually able to get himself out using some of the mobility that Drogoz offers to his advantage here. We did see the payload stall out just a little bit around this spot last time. Not something One Trick Pony was too worried about, because they were able, excuse me, to get it through regardless.
And it's just controlling it and finding that first pick, I think, is the thing that makes the big difference. It didn't happen last time around. This time they've kind of kept the pressure up.
Yep.
They've been able to not necessarily lock them away, but the high ground control has been coming a lot easier for Defit this round. There's been a lot more caution on the side of All Business, and because of that, it's given them a little bit more room to work with on the side of One Trick Pony.
No more room at the moment, though, and All Business finds a few kills. Looking at the ultimate economy, you almost have the Ancient Rage up. Consider that one up. Only Whirlwind down. Damage dealt. Top 3 in this game, all for One Trick Pony. So you have to give a nod to Doodle. Again, he had a big game on the Fernando last time. He's playing the Barrack this time around. 14, 5, and 15. Good for 3rd damage in the game, and he's miles ahead of anyone on All Business. He is 30K damage ahead of a Tyra and an Eevee with Hunting Party.
And breaking that 6K, or 6 digits already. Having the 2,000 now, I believe, damage he's been able to put out. And you have to look at the 14 and 3 right now for Defit. That's impressive coming down from, especially compared to the early round. Like that first round where he's just 1-0, no big kills, no big changes.
Right. Now
he's been able to kind of control it. He's fit the flow of Drogoz, and he's looking to close this one out.
This might be the game-ending Dragon Punch. The wall is up, but Unbelievable is as well. Right into a Dragon Punch, a double kill from the Drogoz. Could seal up game number 2 here for One Trick Pony. Ancient Rage just gets melted through. Oh my, Defit has 3 of the kills. Nixus makes it 4. Xenost makes it 5. And One Trick Pony, after going down 2-0, come back and make it 4-2.
Those rejuvenates definitely helped them in terms like the shifting of healing, I think, as the time went on. Like first fight, Grover, very large healing circle, very much keeping everybody topped off. No real danger there for All Business. And so they win point 1. They kind of keep that momentum rolling into the conversion. But then Cauterize starts coming online, and it's a little harder for them. Then the Rejuvenate comes online, and they just weren't able to keep up the amount of damage they needed to take down the likes of like Defit, Nixus, Andrew Doodle, like all of them.
Well, if nothing else, One Trick Pony have showed us already right out of the gate that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Damage taken, Slapidopoulos, 156K. The frontliners of All Business had a time this game, 142,000 damage onto Unbelievable as well. Close our top damage on their team with 81K, but the rest, One Trick Pony, 0-1-29 for Surretts. That's 2 games in a row. He's only had 1 death. So hats off to him for that.
So it's not every day you get to play Makoa, and it's not every Makoa game that it kind of feels like a bully has grabbed you by the shirt and pushed you against the wall. Like, unfortunately for Slapidopoulos, like that 1-9, at the amount of damage he was taking, even though he was able to deal a little bit back, he just didn't have, I think, the impact that you're hoping for when you pick that champion, versus what you saw out of Defit, where he is just blowing things out of the water on this Drogoz. And Nixus, very specifically, at the beginning, I mean, the second round, he's the reason they are able to come through. This triple kill started it all.
I mean, One Trick Pony, everyone is playing their role in this one. Defit had the big star plays in the last game, a triple kill on the Bomb King, but Nixus, beautiful rotation of his abilities, his cooldowns on this one. So much damage coming out from the Leon, and this is why you see this champion starting to come back into the meta a little bit more. I mean, you know, there are some tweaks to some of the kit, but at the end of the day, a person who's so good at this champion can make good on the damage that she can potentially do, and Nixus played it to a T. Nice flick shot on the Madara there. Seal up that mid-fight. And One Trick Pony, they're rolling.
I am so far a big fan of the way they've been playing. Like, seeing them play from behind was really nice, because like once you have a team that wins from ahead, that's really great. But like, it's NIP factor, right? When you only see them play from ahead, they always look really, really good. It's how you can win, like if you're down 2-0 or 3-1, like how you take those fights when you know, okay, if we mess up, we lose the game. That really, I think, kind of burns the team, like tests them to the metal.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've now seen a One Trick Pony win where they've been in the lead the entire game.
Yeah.
We've also seen one where they've gone down 2-0. Fast cap, maybe helping them a little bit towards those middle fights, but the roar back, I mean, the payload stalls out a couple times there towards the middle, and they're able to just drop that shoulder, and yet again, another draft for All Business that looks good, just not able to make good on it. One Trick Pony up 2-0 in this set, 1 game away from closing out our EU portion of the day. Right after this break, Game 3.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the Paladins minor league.
Hello again. It is me, Fawn. I found my way to the desk once again through the commentator's booth. I have traveled many a mile, but I would not be able to get here if it was not for Nick.
I'll show you the way.
Yes.
I'll sherpa
Thank
you on this journey.
I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. Once again, another interesting set
Yeah.
last time. Pretty commanding, actually, I think. Or at least I feel like it's somewhat commanding. Like it was a good game overall, I think.
Yeah, definitely, man. DeFit shows us it's not really a fluke what he's doing here.
Right, yeah.
Has some difficult-ish matchups. Has a couple of hit scan threats to worry about for the most part, but still dominates on this Drogos. Has a knowledge of kind of where to be. We see him go for. He goes for this fire spit. It was like through this tiny little window that I was like, I don't actually know. Like I'm always learning new things. Like pro players are always finding new stuff, new angles to play with. I was like, I don't know if he can actually sneak it through there. He didn't. I don't know. I have to check it for myself now and see if it's actually a thing. But some very, very obviously, well-versed Drogos performance from DeFit, showing us again he can do it on multiple blasters, which is a big, big thing. But it's kind of like that team effort, right? They have this Leon to keep this Eevee very under control. I think she was like 12-6 or something or 6-12, excuse me. So struggling against the Leon notably, but when this Eevee's being shut down, it's completely up to DeFit to control the skies.
Right, exactly.
It's this like 1-2 punch that's working very well for One Trick Pony at the moment.
Yeah, I mean the Leon pick was definitely made to counter that Eevee, but I see that the third map is indeed Jaguar Falls. We are going to that. The score is 4-2. Last time, see if like OTP actually has like if they keep this trend of like the momentum it is they have. They already won 2 games. It is 2-0. All business has to make like some pretty impactful changes.
Reverse sweep.
Yeah, reverse maybe.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Reverse
yeah.
sweep or bust.
I mean that's literally the only option they have left at this point. So I go for the Torvald ban first. Once again, these are probably going to be pretty standard bans. They get rid of the Makoa this time. I don't think OTP didn't get rid of the Makoa last time. They get rid of it this time.
Yep, Makoa was picked last time. There's been pretty heavy emphasis on the frontline bans in this set. Khan and Makoa were both selected last time, so they will be both off the table this time around. Have to go with some other power picks, of which there are a plenty open.
Right,
Atlas being one of them. Atlas locked in first. Definitely curious to see the Willow ban. Willow solid on Jaguar Falls, absolutely. Now, on Brightmar specifically, Kresnik pointed this out, the Tyra and the Willow bans, those are bans that are, we're picking triple tank. These are the picks that counter triple tank. We're banning these. We've already got our mind made up. It doesn't matter what you pick. This is what we're going with.
Right.
So it's something to keep an eye on for OTP. I don't think Willow is hard and fast like a win condition on Jaguar Falls. I think this is one of her better maps, but I've still yet to be convinced that she needs to be banned on this map. Could be something you want to just take away in terms of a comfort pick from all business, but have to keep a close eye on that.
Business opting for the Grover Leon. Next 2 picks for them. I mean, I've
really been leaning on this Grover today.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was about to say. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this Grover several times. OTP opting to get the Pip though. Don't really see Pip as much anymore, at least in PML and PCO.
He's fallen off a little bit. So
Right,
you
yeah.
still have your your tenors and your random noobs and your some slows that are super comfortable with it. The biggest thing is he still does what he does in terms of his ultimate. He's still incredibly impactful for his self-healing. The self-healing is not as egregious. Moxie really allowed you to ignore cauterize for the first, probably 10-ish minutes of the game, essentially. So it was very impactful for that. That's been toned down to an appropriate spot. I don't think it's as quite of an egregious loadout card as it probably was in the past. But for the guys that used to play Pip, he's still absolutely viable and will be picked on his power maps.
Right. They decided to go for Fernando as well, and really all business a lot. The Inara, the Drogos, Jaguar Falls. Now, we've seen Drogos plenty of times on Jaguar Falls. This can be a good map for him if he has to play this really carefully, though. Because there are places that he can hide behind, like the trees and the hard corners as they have of the buildings, those small little rooms. But if he's not careful, he can be really, really shut down by this Victor.
It's that give and take. When the Victor dies, then Drogos can do his thing more. But until Victor is not dead, then Drogos has to be worried. So it's all about, how can you sort of control this matchup and worry about your counters.
Yeah, I actually like OTP's lineup here just a little bit more. I'm really, really interested to see what this can pull out. However, we're going to pass it right down to the caster to see what they have in store.
Thank you, fellas. Maybe our third and final game of set number 2 of the day. One Trick Pony, all business. Jaguar Falls. I'm never going to get used to, I don't think, maybe seeing Nick on the desk, and then, you see the team's logos next to them when we're on their single, and it's just a beautiful unicorn over the shoulder of Nick. Maybe it just makes sense.
Well, it's Nick and his spirit animal. His
Right,
inner, if we were all translated into animals, he would be the gorgeous unicorn.
I'll bite. What would I be, Gore?
That's a good question.
Putting you on the spot.
All these other
I'll segue you out of that one. That's a hard question to throw you on right
there.
there.
So many animals, Dave.
Little Catalyst Pip for us here this time around. Gonna hopefully make use of the Luminary boost this time around. The One Trick Pony have the lineup to take down all business one final time.
So there's two things that stand out to me immediately. One is that Victor is not normally one of my go-to one-hit scans or champions, really, on this map. I don't see him that often, but I expect Nixus is going to make it work based on what I've seen him do so far this set. And the other one is that Atlas coming through on its own can be game-changing, but based on the Makoa performance, my questions about where Slopodopoulos is going to be, I think is going to be the biggest answer that we see throughout this game.
Slopodopoulos gets the Atlas, gets one kill. Unfortunately, a second kill, but this time it's for One Trick Pony onto Slopodopoulos. Unbelievable again, making use of that Inara health pool, just fighting from the point. 63% though for One Trick Pony. They were contesting essentially that entire time. They're now up to 81% for themselves here. A good zone finds them point number 1 in this third and maybe final game.
I mean, that's going to be complete control. And not anything I think that's going wrong from the damage side. Again, I think a lot of this is a good showcase from what I'm seeing as to what a good off-tank does and how well they can open up things versus what happens when they don't get the performance they want at the beginning of the game, right? Like, you got that initial kill, but then you die if you're Slopodopoulos, and your team has no pressure anymore on Statue's side. They lose the point because everyone on One Trick Pony can now just warp right into the point, and it just causes a little bit more trouble. So if you see that change throughout the game, I'm looking at like the off-tank, I'm looking at the Drogos to maybe step up their performance and kind of be this next level duo.
Well, they found themselves a defensive stand this time around. Vidara this time on the Drogos, of course on the EV last game. And some big flashy moments from Vidara in the last game. I mean, every once in a while you would notice these big kills that would suddenly pull things back, but just not quite able to overcome what One Trick Pony were bringing. Almost 5 ultimates for one TP. I guess I wasn't wrong. I was going to say OTP, but Barrage at 95%. Going to try to brute force this one through. Evil Mojo sounded like it came out. Here is the Barrage for the Victor. Looking for a little bit of poke damage underneath the section down there. Not going to happen just yet. One Trick Pony very stalled out here at sort of this cross line, this choke point.
Yeah, but that kill right there on the Slopodopoulos should open things up. Unbelievable. Maybe choking up a little bit too hard without the rest of his team. I have no idea why he decided. Like, there was, again, a moment in his life right there where left was the payload and continue to fight. Right was the support where he could go get healed. And he took the left when I feel like right might have been the right option. It's one of those moments where it's heat of the fight, and you have to decide, is it better to just respawn, come back at full health, and get some items bought, or just, hope for the best right here and see if I can get away with whatever I want. He goes for the former and does come back. It should be a decent defense around this corner, but if you're going to miss the Evil Mojo because the CC immunity from Unbelievable, you might actually be able to hold on to this.
Works out. I mean, not the most unforgiving thing to miss there. He's already up to 33%, already a third of the way charged up. Klosar in the back line. No more Leon for all business on this defensive stand, and Drogos is not open to get involved whatsoever. Nixus again, I believe, stalled out the seismic crash from Unbelievable. Now Slapidopoulos is left alone as the front line to contest. Nixus makes good on that promising Victor damage to the tune of 2-0. Doodle 3-1-4 on the Barrack, flexing onto these frontliners so well. Stop Me, again, has showed us he's a force to be reckoned with on the front line. 2-0-5 for him. Is it time to stop hating on Fernando a little bit?
I think so.
I think we've seen some good examples of where Fernando can be good.
I feel like it's one of those things. He is, in my mind, like, I guess 6th overall in the frontline tier. But at the same time, every frontline is just phenomenal.
Right.
And Fernando just does the frontline job really well, right? Like, he's got a shield, he's got an ult that stops you from dying. Like, his job is literally not to set up anybody. He can get a little bit of like damage out there, but it's just to kind of keep you going while you do your job. He doesn't necessarily facilitate you the same way like Barrack does. But so far, paired with Barrack, it's been really good.
Yeah, it's looked. I mean, Doodle played at game number 1. Undying, Stop Me, was on the Ash game number 1. Undying as well. The seismic crash is going to come through this time. Is going to find a kill onto Defit. So no more Pip, at least for the moment. Dragon Punch not used on the defense. Able to be used here, but there's already too many deaths for all business. You pull one back, Madara pulls a couple. Starting to flex these Drogo's wings just a little bit. The bowling ball is going to keep Doodle alive, but only finds death at the hands of Madara. So good stand here from all business.
That's the Madara I remember. That's the one I've been waiting to see this entire set. That's the one that can control this game and maybe make it a little easier for Unbelievable to just do his job as a Nara. I think that's kind of been the up and downs. Is just when you have this, the way things are going on the side fights, the way things are going even on the point fights, it's just been back and forth. I mean, even right there, Unbelievable, theoretically you should have maybe some healing, some body blocking, some different focus for One Trick Pony being generated by your team.
Right.
And they tunnel vision in. They get the kill, and they stop your push before it can even start.
Maybe throw an asterisk on it. They had the 4% per tick that time around. One Trick Pony just short and coming back for the contest. Evil Mojo actually found a kill, but not in time. They'll be okay with that on all business. Barrage, a little bit of poke damage onto Klosar, and Xenost ends up being enough to clean up the Grover here. This is where all business really need to be focused on. I mean, of course they are, but they really need, I think, to get a successful push here, because One Trick Pony, if nothing else, have shown us today that they're not going to give you that many chances to score points on these maps. So you got to take whatever chance you're able to get here. And this is a good one, starting off with a kill onto Doodle.
I mean, just opening up the kills and being able to generate, I think, I don't want to describe it as free damage, but kind of the damage that Drogo should be doing, where it's just an enormous amount of poke that should then be filled up by either him cleaning up the kill or by this Leon cleaning up the kill. Either way, either or, you should be set up to continually keep someone on One Trick Pony uncomfortable. Whether it's a frontline, whether it's a support, whether it's a DPS, someone should always feel like they're getting pressured out. And it kind of felt like that wasn't happening long enough early on. Now I see it happening a lot more consistently, coming down from Madara in the air. And that's just keeping them tripped up, keeping them on their toes, and forcing One Trick Pony to play slightly different from their game plan.
Well, it's not been the support of One Trick Pony who's felt uncomfortable at any point, really, I would say, in this set. I believe one total death across the 2 games. To fit with a nice long-range shot. Yeah, Surrette's still 1-0-12 now. So Undying in this game, Undying in the first game, one dying in the second game. That's a good double kill from Doodle. Unbelievable and Slop. So one frontliner onto 2 others. All business forced back here. This is where One Trick Pony can really draw that line in the sand with only 20 seconds left. Some good ultimates. But what they'll look for is a successful defense here, a full suite of ultimates going into the next mid-fight, and then winning the game there.
Klosar, though, still mounted up.
Yeah, watch
Unbelievable
out.
coming around the corner. Like, this should be overtime.
It will
It's
be.
going to be a very, very precarious situation for Unbelievable because he's had to drop his damage reduction really, really far before. But with the wall going down now, Barrage maybe not finding a target onto him. He's still sitting at his 54-50 pretty comfortably.
Slapidopoulos so low. Able to get a little bit of healing. Unbelievable. Tiptoeing around this payload. He's not really the target of aggression right now from One Trick Pony. They're really focused on everyone else. so low right now is the Fernando for OTP as well. Doodle throwing down the shield, keeping himself alive. Stop Me has the Immortal if he gets a little bit too low. But all they need is one kill onto Unbelievable. They have 3-1. They only use the barrage. That's already up to about 50%. And Nixus, you know, if nothing else, it's been the Fit and Nixus show across the board. Quiet, but very successful games from the rest of the members of One Trick Pony as well. Now just 1 point away from a 3-0 start to their minor league campaign.
So there's one part of Victor's kit that I really love on this map, and it's the same reason I love Bomb King on this map, and it's his grenade when it comes down to it, because there's a lot of people who are going to play around corners. There's a lot of angles that you can bounce it off of to get into their face, even though they've gone around that edge. I mean, that last replay was a perfect example of it, where it's like Closar shouldn't die there, and the only way Nixus, without a grenade, can get that kill is to run into danger, turn, and hope to find that last shot.
Right.
But because of how many different angles there are and how many walls you can bounce off of, while they have cover, you also get moments like this where you can just kind of throw it over the wall and do whatever you want with it.
So they use the Evil Mojo. Doesn't look like it found very much. Everything's starting to get thrown here. Brilliant dome shield there to keep him alive. Madara falls down at the beginning of this fight, and now One Trick Pony in a beautiful spot. No up advantage. A snipe from Surretts drops Slapidopoulos as well. 5 strong are One Trick Pony and 18% on the point.
Stop Me is hands down the MVP for this fight so far, just because
That
there is a distinct moment where it's like, your barrack should be gone, you should lose all pressure you have, and that Immortal came through
Yeah,
at
the Immortal.
what felt like the last second, right? Like, I genuinely was like, okay, Dragon Punch, this barrack's dead, and then like, my brain had to spend a couple seconds processing why that didn't happen outside of the Immortal. Part of the reason it's so good, part of the reason he's big against Drogus.
Works out perfectly that time. 72% for One Trick Pony. Doodle, though, is the first to drop on that side. They're able to answer right back on a Slapidopoulos. Frontline for frontline. Stop Me. He's had a great series up to this point. Needs to stay alive for his team. All business. Plenty of room to spare as Unbelievable stands on the point here with 31%. 4% per tick for the blue side. Unbelievable solo. Gets a little bit of that Grover healing as well, but now he's kind of into the Wolves' den. He finds a Victor just waiting around the corner for him, trying to keep himself alive right now. Stop Me with the first kill onto Closar. Now you're relying on Madara, but an Evil Mojo into a Void Grip keeps them alive. Slapidopoulos with maybe a saving grace, but you have 96% for One Trick Pony. You have the win, and you have a 3-0 to start off your split.
I think the most interesting thing about that was just the fact that everyone was so focused on that side fight.
Yeah.
I mean, you have, 4 members still available. The only person they really killed was Unbelievable. A couple getting poked out, but all business, we're just focused on, let's get this. Let's win over here. Let's do whatever we can. And so Andrew Doodle's just kind of like, cool, this is the point. I'm happy.
I'll take some notes. I mean, Unbelievable did that. I believe it was point 1 on Serpent Beach where, all right, I'm just going to stand here, fight from the point the entire time. One Trick Pony does a little bit of the same here. Another convincing game out of them. And you know, some names that you didn't see in the minor league last split, some of them coming up big today. Nixus, Defit, though, you're maybe used to that name. A lot of people having big days for One Trick Pony. Expect big things, I think, out of this team moving forward.
Yeah, honestly, with the shakeup in rosters that came down for Penta and Sour Team, I think it does. They're still going to be very solid. Right. I think you're going to have to work as a team to kind of take them down. But looking at where One Trick Pony are right now, I think they've kind of opened up the discussion that we're not looking at a minor league. I mean, even going into last split's minor league, we thought these teams are going to be really close. And then there was a very decisive 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now it's feeling like there might be a 1, 2, and 3. All business with a little bit of work are looking like they're going to be in the equation as well. So, like, I'm excited to see this split and how it lays out, because I think this is the closest we've seen them all year.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it up to this point. We get to take a look at some of the big highlights that happened here in our third game. 8-4 and 8 for Doodle. And again, one thing that I mentioned early on, but you know, we see a good example of here is, you know, you associate Doodle with blasters. Apparently now he's playing some frontliners, and he's doing it well.
I mean, it's one of those things we're starting to see, I think, members of Mouse Sports that are still around that maybe didn't find immediate success. I mean, Alex is doing pretty well here on NIP. Andrew Doodle is really, really coming into his own, I think, here. First split, it was off. You know, watching him play those blasters didn't quite hit the same feeling that it did, even in the PPL. Now I'm starting to see this front line, and it just feels comfortable, right? Yep. It just feels right overall for the team, and I really like that for One Trick Pony. I think it's a really good starting point.
And I think you have to give props to any healer that's able to die a single time in the entire set.
Just once.
0 deaths, 1 death, 0 death towards the end of that one. I mean, it's hard enough to win a game when you can kill a healer a couple times,
Yeah.
but 0 times in any given game, you always have to give props to that. One Trick Pony. They come out on top of this one. That's going to wrap up our first couple sets of the day. Send it back to the desk and hear what they're thinking.
The dab of victory for OTP. How's that? Was that good?
Sure.
OTP taking it 3-0 over all
Make me
business.
think about Hakate, man.
No.
That was his move. How dare you
God
stand
rest-
where he stood?
God rest his soul. God rest his soul.
He's out there. He's doing well. He's
Yeah, he
finding
is.
his way.
He is. He's fine. OTP.
He's
take
not
it.
dead.
Yeah. Don't think I was actually saying that he's dead. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. OTP take it 3-0 over all business. Just overall, commandingly, the last game it was that we had saw from them was a 4-2, but now they just close it out really efficiently.
And I'm seeing a lot of things that is good about them. This is like a well-oiled machine. There's like a lot of different people that I feel like you can lean on here. I love what the casters were commenting on about Amtrude on his front lines.
Yeah.
Still more for me on that front. You know what I mean? I want to kind of watch and see as that develops, but it's kind of a weird jump to see largely a blaster player, DPS backline guy hop onto the front line after, frankly being pretty successful in his past on his DPS roles. But he looked good today. Curious to see maybe in a more contested match what he starts to look like, because that's where front lines butter their bread, when they really are struggling in a game and they have to be the ones to create space to get their team back into it, to make something out of nothing. That's really what a front line is relied on for.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon Dave brought up a good point. The person that was playing the Barrack on OTP side just did, like, at first he's been flexing around. He's been going from character to character. He doesn't always play the front line. He's known for playing blasters. We saw him play a Drogos, I believe it was on Serpent Beach. He did really, really well. But, I mean, in this case, he's flexing around. And the reason why I'm bringing up the Barrack is because he had to pull that one through at the very, very last fight of that Jaguar Falls. The Evo Mojo did hit the Inara. They did get the kill, but he had to make sure he cleaned up the rest of it along with his team.
Yeah, Doodle was damn near top damage for a good portion of that game as well, which is something you've not to be surprised by, not necessarily to expect, but you're like, when that happens, you're like, okay, this is a top tier front line. It's a rock solid Barrack player, really good front line Barrack player specifically will sometimes take top damage. I'm looking Rubu's, Lazy's, like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what you'd expect, at least from frontliners.
Yeah, like rock, really good front lines.
Yeah, exactly. But here, take a look at the map standings here. See that Sour Team and OTP, both of them up 1-0. Penta and all business. Once again, when you are playing these matches, somebody has to be the loser in this situation. Sour Team, One Trick Pony already won their first game. Penta and all business at currently 0-1, but they've still got plenty of time to at least make it up.
Yeah, Penta playing with 2 subs, we've been told today, so that's something you definitely keep an eye on. This is how they started their phase last time around. Sour Team did get the win in the first week, but from then on out, it was not as dominant in the earlier couple weeks, but Penta were winning those games against Sour Team, and then by the end of the phase, when that team really started to come together, they were dominated. They were, almost laughing Sour Team out of the building. So similar to the Renegades have had a great start to their phase. I wish them well for the rest of their phase. Same thing with Penta. Don't take it too hard. This is how your phase started last time, and you ended up winning the damn MSI. So
and it's only
turned out all right for you.
Yeah, and it's only the first games right now. Let's take a look at the North American standings, I believe, currently. So we're gonna see if we can get right into that. But before that, here we go. Yeah. I'm messing up all over the place. Here are the North American standings. We have Exile, 5 Stacks Esports, and Sanguine, and the Shadows currently. All of them are the North American teams for the PML.
Yep, ready to rock and roll. Those guys are certainly going to be fun to watch. A couple of new faces you're going to recognize on the Shadows, as well as Sanguine, and a couple of completely brand new teams I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, but be sure that you guys stay tuned, because right after this break, we'll get right into the North American bracket.
The Paladins Minor League is brought to you by Evo Mojo Games, developers of Paladins.